Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Scarlett Cyanide's Sit and Sip, the show where we grab a seat, take a sip, and get into all things RuPaul's Drag Race. Now today we are talking about, of course, RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17. We've made it now to episode 12.
Yep.
And today's challenge was the Charisma, Uniqueness, Nurve, and Talent Monologues. With a twist. Yes.
Okay. I was making sure the twist didn't get lost.
No. No twist will be lost.
We'll talk about it, but...
Yeah, because this was actually a harken back to the first time they did these monologues, which was in All-Star 6.
Okay.
And the twist was this time is that they're going to be in pairs, and they're going to interpret their partner's stories through modern dance or interpretive dance. Yes.
Through dance. I do as if I actually know how to dance. I do not.
That was so lovely. It was so graceful.
Well, thank you.
Now, before we get into this episode, Jordan, how's it going today?
Pretty good. Got some coffee. So how about you? What are you sipping on?
Oh, you're asking me. I love it.
I got in there and I asked.
I love it. Yes, very co-hostial of you. I love it. I also have some coffee.
Nice.
I also have some water.
Good.
So
Stay hydrated.
I'm hydrated and caffeinated and ready to talk about The Crown.
Sweet.
Yes.
Oh, we're not watching The Crown, are we?
But before we can get into the episode, I want to remind these lovely people to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all things Scarlett Cyanide, Sit and Sip, Drag Race. You know we're here every single Monday. We also have extra videos coming out. We recently had a School for Sexy People video coming out. I have a Scarlett Cyanide's Sit and Play coming out. She's doing the triple threat thing.
Yep.
So we have 3 different varieties of videos that we're going to be bringing out to every single week.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of videos, we are also making some members-only videos, and you can watch all of that by becoming a Seated and Sipping member. That information is down below. And with Seated and Sipping memberships, you get members-only videos, members-only watch-alongs, where we actually watch the Drag Race episodes together.
It's always a lot of fun,
It's
actually.
super fun. And yes.
I have a great time doing it.
I love that. No, it's so fun. It's like kind of becoming like a little family every week. It's like,
yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, how's it going? How was this thing?
I look forward to it. It feels like an actual social interaction, which I don't feel like I do a whole lot of these days.
No, I know. It's nice to,
nice.
talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. So once again, all of that, how to join is down below. And you also get little custom emojis and badges, and it's so cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm back there plugging away. I want the members to feel like they're getting their money's worth. So I'm back there. We're going to have a bunch of members-only videos. It's going to be great.
I'm so excited. Well, with that being said, let's not let the lovely people wait any longer, Jordan.
Okay.
Let's grab our seats. Oh, done. Check.
Yep.
And take a sip.
All right.
Get that cup.
Do that real quick.
And let's get into all things RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 17, Episode 12, Charisma, Uniqueness, Nurve, and Talent Monologues with a twist. Yes. All right. Well, before the monologues, though, the girls have to come back from that past challenge.
Yeah.
Yes. And this was actually a nice refresh change from last week because Lydia went home.
Yeah.
And clearly she had a lot of close relationships with the girls.
I always love seeing when girls have, like, really made friendships off camera.
Yeah.
Because on camera, you know, they gotta... I always feel like they've got to have somebody off camera, like, poking them with the Be Dramatic stick.
Oh, yeah.
So I love seeing the friendships they develop when they're not on any kind of camera and they can just be friends.
Yeah, I know, because they were really, really sad to see Lydia go.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that luckily she left a very congenial
they used the C
mirror
word.
message. They did, which I actually kind of loved because I think just naturally on the live we kind of brought up like, oh, Lydia's giving Miss Congeniality
for sure
for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I feel like there's something about her mousiness that I'm just like, I don't know who else it could be for Miss Congeniality.
She is just very, like, sweet and, like, I don't know, just, she just has that I'm a sweet little, like, innocent.
Yeah.
Like, Arrietty wanted to be baby, but I actually feel like Lydia is giving, like, that sweet and innocent more, just naturally.
I have to agree. Like, and that's why I think, yeah. And that's why it was funny. Yeah, we were bringing that up, and then that word popped up. Like, oh, there it is, congenial.
Yes. But now, kind of diverting from congenial, when they're back on the workroom couch before they, like, de-drag and stuff.
Yeah.
Onya calls out the girls because on the stage, RuPaul had asked who should go home this week and why. And Onya and Suzie agree that the girls gave, like, fake easy answers.
By saying Suzie.
By saying Suzie.
Yeah.
Because Onya was like, well, clearly RuPaul's not going to send Suzie home. No. So, like, why even say Suzie?
I see, and I feel like it's splitting a lot of semantic hairs because, sure, they're, like, saying, like, who should go home rather than versus who you want to go home. But I just feel like in this situation, that's really splitting hairs because the question is, who do you think should go home? You can think that for whatever reason you want. You are being asked for your opinion. So I disagree with them splitting hairs. If they all wanted to say Suzie Toot except for Onya, then they should all say Suzie Toot except for Onya, who had different reasons.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's reason is totally legitimate. But that's me.
I love that. Yeah, and honestly, like, it doesn't matter. I feel like it's obvious either way, because if you say the girl that's doing the worst, well, okay.
She's probably going.
Yeah, but if you say the girl that's doing the best, it's kind of like, oh, well, I understand that too. So
and you're bitter.
Yeah. So not saying that she's bitter though about this, but Suzie does mention that Onya now officially has 3 wins.
And she's alone in that.
Yeah, she's got the 3 wins club, and now Suzie says that she is no longer the front runner.
Yeah.
And Onya is the clear front runner.
You know, I'm a little mean to Suzie too. I just don't get her. I think I just don't get her. But I was listening to that. I'm like, Suzie, you are calling yourself a front runner, and that's funny to me. Like, I think Suzie thinks she was doing way better this whole time than she's been doing. Maybe it's me.
No, hey, I feel like the opinions, just in general, I feel like everybody's opinion is valid, and this is just a competitive TV show, and everybody is allowed to have, like, people they're not clicking with and people that they do really click with. Yeah. So, hey, don't bother me.
Suzie still thinks it's RuPaul's small theater troupe race.
Now,
and it is not.
In that, actually, that kind of bites her a little bit, this episode.
Yes, it does.
So before we, like, jump to the mini challenge, they do close out, actually, with a little bit of foreshadowing where Sam says it's against her religion to lip sync, and then they're like, cut to the lip sync.
And they just go, cut to, and I'm like, wow, actually, how perfect.
And honestly, as soon as they said it, I'm like, as soon as that whole interaction happened, I'm like, well, that has to happen this episode, because up until this point, Sam has not struggled.
She's not really struggled. The worst she did was early on when she was too polished.
Right.
And she wasn't funny.
Well,
so now, and then she got one critique about it, became funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Now she just doesn't struggle. So
yeah. Well, speaking of struggling, some girls struggled, but some girls really excelled in the mini challenge.
Yeah.
And I've actually thought this was really fun. RuPaul's loves a good, like, Mad Libs fill in the blank situation. Like,
yeah.
I think I've even, like, mentioned in past episodes that you'll see the Mad Libs a lot.
Yes. and I get it. They're funny.
It is really funny, and it's a quick way to, like, do a mini challenge or whatever. And so I thought this was really fun and something that we hadn't seen before. I can't remember a time where they did this. And so RuPaul has them get into pairs, which in and of itself caused a little bit of inner turmoil, because when the girls paired up, Lexi in this moment decided to be very strategic in her decision. And she's like, RuPaul specifically says, pair up with the person you're closest to.
Yeah. So you'd think she'd go to Sam because they're little buddies.
Yeah, they've been like that sister inspirational moments, like episode after episode.
Yeah.
But Lexi is really quick to grab Onya.
And she's quick to tell us immediately that it was strategy. It's not. It was less about messing with Sam and more about I'm latching on to the person who has 3 wins, who is clearly killing it, and I mean it real. We'll talk about it more later, but it pays off.
Yeah,
it pays off in dividends for her.
It really, really does. Now Sam is, right away you can see it in her face.
Just a little hurt.
She's hurt by it. I also thought it was interesting though because Lexi did take an opportunity during the Mad Libs to kind of like throw some shade at Sam.
Yeah,
and made Sam's fashion sense or something, I think, part of the Mad Lib. So, I don't know. Honestly, I was kind of expecting this potential beef or whatever to play out more during the episode, but it honestly really didn't.
No, and the thing about this mini challenge, honestly, my feelings personally is, except for Lexi, I don't feel like anybody really did that bad. Lexi was just doing a Mad Lib.
I know.
She wasn't exactly getting that, like, Mad Libs are the inspiration, but that's not what we're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Entirely.
Lexi literally was like, I'm just going to write down, like, words that I think are funny.
Yeah.
But it's almost like she forgot that it's supposed to
be about somebody.
And tell a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really interesting. But Jules, though.
I was a little surprised. I was like, I don't know that I knew that Jules was this funny.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Jules definitely won the reading challenge. Like, if this was a reading challenge,
oh yeah,
Jules won that. I mean,
we could call it that.
Yeah,
in a way.
Was a little bit.
In a way.
Yeah. And with no shock, Jules won the mini challenge.
Which, again, I feel like from a production angle, they were probably back there like, make sure Jules gets to pick the order again. Because, of course, she won. She gets to pick the order, what, 3rd week in a row?
Something like that. Literally, yeah. It's
like
hilarious.
At this point, somebody's making a joke.
Definitely. And it immediately sends the girls into like, oh, cue the music. Jules was picking the order again. The girls are going to be pressed. And like, it was very funny.
But it did feel like, ironically, they weren't. Because everybody was so ready to be like, oh, Jules is doing it again. Cue this, cue that. And then really we didn't get a lot of that. Everybody kind of just got to go where they felt like they wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, it was funny because, of course, Jules and Suzie talked a big game, like, obviously just playing it up for the cameras. Like, we're going to mess with them. They
stand on the other side of the room. You stand on the other side of the room. You talk a little loudly about it. Yeah. They were just having fun and messing with the girls at this point.
It was very, very funny. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Like when they came up and they did ultimately just, give them exactly what they wanted. Yeah. So the order of these performances, right away, Suzie, Toot, and Jules, they're like, okay, well, we'll go first. Yeah. Which, and I liked Jules' sentiment ultimately where she was like, hey, if the girls feel sabotage, it's because they sabotaged themselves.
Exactly.
It wasn't that they were going to, like, blame me about it.
Yeah.
And so she puts her and Suzie first. And then the order shakes out to be then Onya and Lexi. And then Sam and Lana.
Yep.
We start to see the girls practice, and right away, you can start to see who's going to be doing well and who's potentially going to struggle.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any immediate thoughts about who you thought was going to be doing well this week or who you thought was going to potentially lip sync?
I mean, I felt like the writing was pretty on the wall the whole time about Lana, that this was probably Lana's exit, and it ultimately was.
Right.
But I did also say, initially not thinking it was too likely, I even said on the live, I'm like, I think Sam's going to end up lip syncing with Lana tonight. Mm-hmm. And as the episode went on, that seemed more and more possible.
Definitely. It's very likely it was going to be Sam and Lana. But while they were rehearsing, and Suzie immediately was like kicking into, oh, I'm actually going to choreograph a dance. Like, this is actually like a dance company, and we're Martha Graham.
She was showing every little move.
And being like, no.
Like, oh, girl, this isn't going to be fun.
Right. So when that happened, I'm like, oh my God, are we going to be doing a Suzie versus Sam? Are one of the, in my opinion, like also front runners, top 3 for sure. Is this going to be like a major shakeup to the top 3?
That could have been interesting. A Suzie Sam lip sync.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh. So either way, I was very interested. I'm like, okay, either Lana, this is her exit.
Yeah.
Or she'll be able to swoop by one last week. And it was going to be some like epic, stressful showdown.
Yeah.
But I guess, that didn't happen, obviously. So
no. That could have been interesting because we were looking to Lana, if Lana pulls out a really amazing performance in this episode, she could save herself.
Right.
But she had to really pull it out, and she just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, and honestly, too, and like you said, we'll talk about everybody's performance, but the first group, Jules and Suzie, ultimately had the same issues that the last group did, Sam and Lana, which was both of these groups were just starting to veer off, and you could see it in rehearsals. They were just going way too serious, whether it was a serious story or very serious dancing or a mixture of both. The only group that was really like very chill and relaxed, and Lexi even said, Anya's relaxed and doesn't seem bothered at all, so that's like helping me be relaxed. They were the only group that just immediately knew that the moral of the story always is make Ru laugh.
Yeah.
Like, Ru is there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Dance clowns dance. So, like, tell your story, but always make it funny.
Always make it funny. And you could tell right away that they were going to have an easy time together. I loved Anya's pieces to camera, making sure she was really conscious of Lexi's inner saboteur and not letting that grab a hold and bring them both down. I loved that.
Yes.
I thought that was great for both of them.
Definitely. Yeah. I was kind of thinking about, like, what would I do in this challenge? Because it was like everybody was trying to do a story that was, like, actually a real story from their life.
Yeah.
I gotta say, though, I would just, like, kind of think of a story in my life that I could pull from and directly relate from. But if it wasn't funny, I would, like, change something in it. Yeah. I would straight up just be like, how can I change the story, like,
to make it funny?
Because, like,
it's like, if it's
who
not,
cares
if it's not funny, then Ru's not going to remember it.
Exactly. Like, I would rather, like, just make up just a hook, funny ending that's completely made up and ridiculous. Yeah. Than try to, like, be like, oh, I'm going to make this 100% real life, and then it'd be boring. Yeah. So you do the same thing?
Unless I could think of a story that did end that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think. I'd have to know my category and think.
That's true. Ooh, yeah. So speaking of categories, I'm so glad you brought that up. Not only were the girls in pairs, but they were each assigned like a specific prompt.
Exactly.
For their story.
Prompt is what I should have said instead of category.
So the prompts were Jules. So let's start with Jules and Suzie. Yeah. So Jules was paranormal.
It was, out of this world.
Out of this world. And Suzie is learning something the hard way.
Learn that the hard way. So
the next group was Lexi and Anya. Yeah. Anya had Obsessed, which she chose veganism.
Yeah, she was telling a story about going very raw vegan, which I guess not being a vegan, I don't know a lot about the levels of vegan. Right. But man,
I was shook when she was just telling me, like, sleeping all white or whatever. I'm like, oh, this is going to be funny. Yeah. Like, right away, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of ways to take this. Very funny.
I like that Lexi clocked her for it being kind of a cult.
Right. And then Lexi's prompt was payback's a B word.
Yeah. Which I did notice during her actual performance, she got a little confused and became convinced it's karma's a B word. Uh-huh. And I think even Ru said at one point that was what it was, even though that's not what it was.
Right.
So that worked out for Lexi, that she made Ru forget.
I know, because, really, and, like, her story didn't exactly fit the prompt, but... Yeah. Yes. So then the next group was, of course, Sam and Lana. Lana had the prompt of lost. So a time in life where you couldn't find your way or something like that, essentially. Yeah. And then Sam had triggered.
And Sam even said, like, being triggered is almost a daily occurrence for her in some way, so she had a lot to work off of.
Right. Yeah, and I honestly, with so many options, I wish ultimately she would have gone with a funnier option, but...
Yeah, I still feel like she could have made this story funny. Mm-hmm. I mean, without taking away from it the ways in which it was devastating.
Yeah.
I still feel like she could have made it funny.
Right. Well, let's just jump right in to talk about these performances.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, like we said, Suzie, Toot, and Jules, they fell right into the trap of, oh, we're actually doing like a real performance
piece.
Yeah, at the Kennedy Center or something. Yeah. So, Jules went first for the interpretive dance, and Suzie told her story, spelling bee, and ultimately, it was actually a well put together story. And it was well told.
It was.
Mm-hmm. And Jules did really well doing the interpretive dance.
I agree. Suzie even got laughs at the parts where she was supposed to get laughs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was like, this story could be punched up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. Is like, it was a good story, but I was kind of like, okay, this is fine. And luckily, Jules was doing a pretty good job of like selling the story, but it was definitely on the verge of like, this is a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah.
Now, poor Jules, though.
Yeah.
Now, Jules definitely had the same issue. Her story, while it was like a sweet story, it wasn't fitting the challenge of like having any like highs or lows or punchiness.
I was a little confused what the story was even about at points, but I really feel like maybe I was distracted by Suzie.
Oh my gosh, I know, because Suzie was like really just trying to give you realness. They completely forgot that, and Ru even tells them in the prompt, you're supposed to mix your story with humor and heart. The heart was there, but the humor was nowhere. The humor was over in Lana's story, Lost.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, between Jules kind of just delivering a very interpersonal story without any twist of humor, and then Suzie making it extra somber.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was boring. It was kind of a snooze fest.
It was a little bit boring.
Mm-hmm. We had a slow start, but we had a robust middle. Yes. Because Lexi and Onya were next. And oh my goodness.
Lexi as the dancer was quite hilarious.
Oh my God. They were just such a perfect pairing. I'm so proud of Lexi.
Yes.
This is like officially the first time Lexi completely got out of her own way.
Yeah.
And did the things that you were, remember when you were pointing at the camera and you were like giving her this intense pep talk last week, which I loved. I feel like she heard you.
Yeah.
Because she embraced all the things that make her really funny.
And I do really think Onya had a lot to do with that. Onya was very supportive of making sure she didn't self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Anya's more relaxed confidence, I feel like, was also a very good influence on Lexi, definitely on her nerves. She definitely wasn't afraid to act completely silly, and I loved that. Like, we saw a little bit of it with Ross Matthews and the Ducks. I saw a little bit peeking out. Mm-hmm. I love that she just really let it go, because Onya was killing it. Telling the story, Anya's just naturally very funny storyteller.
Yeah, they mentioned the judges were like, you're so charismatic, you're so dynamic, I could listen to you talk about anything.
Yeah.
And truly,
100.
her delivery of her story was the best.
Absolutely. But she and Lexi were just so right there with each other. Lexi knew how to play off of that without distracting. That was actually another thing I didn't want to say about Suzie. Was Suzie kind of circled Jules? And that was another thing. I was like, don't distract. Like, you perform over here, they tell the story over here.
Right. Yeah. I think overall, to that point, Lexi and Onya just continually made good choices.
I agree.
With how they did their dancing and the fact that they let each other shine in each of their moments.
Absolutely.
So when it was time for them to switch and Lexi was telling her story and Onya was doing the dancing, because once again, they were there to support each other so well in each of their roles, even though Lexi's story didn't fully fit the prompt because there was no payback or even a karma moment.
Yeah.
Like, the moral of the story was that she chose not to confront the person that made her mad online, that, like, insulted her online.
Yeah. Which is a wonderful, like, with a story of growth, but that does not fit payback's a B word.
Right.
It doesn't even fit karma's a B word.
Exactly. Like, that is where I would have tweaked my story a little bit.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, I went to go confront her at the bar, and then as she was walking through the door, the girl's hair got stuck on a nail and the wig ripped off or something.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been like, haha.
And there you go. Karma's a B word.
Yeah, exactly. But instead she was like, I just chose not to confront her. And I was like, oh, okay. But because of Onya.
But Onya made that very, like, Onya didn't go as full force the whole time as maybe Lexi did. Lexi was playing up, I hate to use this word, but her gangliness as a source of humor.
Yeah.
Onya didn't have that to work with, but I feel like Onya really punctuated things.
Yeah, and she used, like, her super expressive face.
Yes.
So well.
Oh my God, and the claps.
Those claps are just, like,
so funny.
That is so funny. So it was A+.
Yeah.
When they were performing it, I'm like, this is exactly what Roy was wanting.
Yeah.
This is exactly how you execute this challenge.
And it shows that I guess it also shows that sometimes you can not do the prompt and it'll be okay if you do it well enough.
If you just sell it.
If you do it well enough.
Exactly. That was the high of the challenge. Because then, unfortunately, the last group, which was Sam and Lana, they went next, and they very similar trajectory of Jules and Suzie, but just not even quite up to what they were able to deliver.
Yeah.
Because Sam's story, it was a great story. It was very a continuation of, honestly, a backstory that we've heard throughout this.
Yeah.
This
It
season.
makes a lot of sense to what I already know about Sam Starr.
But we didn't really learn anything new about Sam in this moment.
We got I will give her, I was interested in her story. I actually wanted to learn a little bit more if there was any more to it about the homecoming queen story she told.
Well, you know, at least, even though the story was kind of like entertainment value wise, I feel like Lana, and the judges even spoke about this, Lana did a pretty good job in her interpretive dance of it.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think that Lana, like, detracted from it at all.
No.
But unfortunately,
Nor did she add that.
Yeah, she didn't add too much. And then when the roles were flipped, then they both fell into basically not delivering or selling the story. Lana was not able to add any, like, dynamicness in her voice or delivery or anything from the story, while it was an important story to tell.
Absolutely.
Between the dancing of Sam, which was not much, and then Lana's delivery, which was not much, it was a very kind of low energy way to end the challenge.
Yeah. When we first started hearing the little bits back in the workroom about Lana's upbringing, I was interested. I felt like her story just was, she just wasn't able to encapsulate it the way she wanted. I'm predicting we're going to see Lana Jarre in the next few years on an All-Star season, and you're going to be impressed by the glow-up.
Oh, I love the confidence you have in her.
I think so.
Wow, I love that. They do their monologues, and then it's time for the runway. And I was really excited for this runway category, which was worst dress or ugliest dress. And once again, another echoing back, but this time to season 7 when they did that ugly dress category. You know, it was funny because speaking of the workroom, when we found out that it's like ugliest dress, immediately I'm like, well, Sam Star is going to pull a Miss Fame and wear something that's not ugly at all and extremely fashion forward.
And that's exactly what she did.
Yes, yes. But let's talk about each of the runway looks.
Yeah.
So worst dress. Well, enter in. It's her category. That was so shady. But Suzie Toot is first for worst dress.
And I was looking at it. I was like, I bet she just had that.
Well, Suzie shows up in she fit the challenge. It was an extremely ugly dress. It was a Christmas tree where her head was painted yellow like it was the star. And I thought that was actually very funny.
And see, I didn't even get that.
Oh, you didn't even get it?
It makes sense now that you say it, but it didn't even read as that. Like, we're already going ugly. Put some things on your head to make you look like a star.
So now you're saying her dress is not ugly enough. All right. Well, next was...
I'm also just having fun with it.
I know. It's just very funny because I'm like, damn, now the dress ain't ugly enough. Speaking of not ugly enough dresses, next up was Jules Sparkle, and...
I liked it.
You liked it? Good.
I liked it. And I didn't even hate the braces. Like... I get annoyed when they just don't do the category.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to get annoyed at Jules because I love her, but she just didn't do the category.
Yeah. I also think that this dress was not ugly. I thought it was actually really cute. She looked great.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, this is ugly. I don't want to actually look ugly, but this is the illusion of an ugly dress.
Well, it was not that it was ugly. It's just that she wouldn't wear it.
Right, right.
Like, except in this scenario right now, to show what she wouldn't wear, she would never wear it.
The thing that was very ugly and very funny was Onya Nurve's look when she came out dressed as a turkey, which was hilarious with the little gobble gobble whatever hanging right over her face.
It's very good.
It was really funny. It was really cute. Once again, if anybody's going to interpret a category correctly, it's Onya. It's Onya.
I was like, again, they could just look at Anya's paper for a second. They'd understand the category.
Yeah.
She said, I'm going to make it a beautiful turkey, but it's a turkey.
And turkeys are just naturally
turkeys are just
ugly
turkeys are
birds,
just ugly.
Right. They're just ugly.
Like, if I was going to dress like a bird to be beautiful, I would not pick a turkey.
Right. So Onya killed the category.
Yeah.
I loved it. And actually, so Lexi went after her, and I loved Lexi's dress. I actually thought Lexi's dress was very fun.
Yeah.
And high fashion and very cool, but I think it successfully did like a high fashion version of an ugly dress because I believed it as an ugly dress, but I also was like, ooh, this is kind of cute. So I really liked Lexi.
I agree because it was the only dress, with the exception of Jules and Sam's, but of the dresses that fit the category, it was the only one that I was like, but I could actually see people wearing that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe unaware that it's ugly, but I'd see people wearing that for sure.
It was, it was giving me Betsy Johnson.
Absolutely.
It was, I'm like, oh, Betsy, bring her back.
And just real quick, I just want to, point out that the hair was terrific.
Oh.
Lexi's hair was amazing.
Yeah, Lexi looked amazing. So I
there was
really
nothing worse about that hair. I think the color choice was a good color choice for worst, but the hair itself was beautiful.
Yeah, no, in general, I love this look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have somebody who, once again, she just missed the categories this week really completely, and that was Sam Star with her ugly meat dress.
Yeah.
Because who would ever wear a meat dress?
Except for Lady Gaga.
Right.
And Gail in that one episode.
Oh my God. So Sam comes out in probably one of the most beautiful couture dresses.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, but because it's like a whole bleeding thing,
depiction of
and
meat and everything.
It's like all this stuff that she says she finds gross, but it's these beautiful versions of them. But because of that, and because she's a pageant girl, it's not something she would wear.
Right.
Not normally.
Right.
But for this category, yeah.
Right. And it was just really hilarious. I'm like, oh, Miss Fame. Here's Miss Fame.
Yeah.
Because,
no, you called it.
Yeah, I'm like, I knew this girl was not going to wear anything ugly. And once again, it's like the most beautiful thing.
It was gorgeous.
And so, rightfully so, between her and Lana not delivering in their challenge and then her really missing the mark on the runway.
Yes.
She was on the bottom along with our next.
It wasn't because her dress was bad. She just was blatantly not the category.
Right. And then I actually really liked the feedback that Lana got overall because I'm like, yeah, she needed to hear this. So Lana definitely came out in an ugly dress, but it happened to have been Candy Muse's exact dress.
And she was saying that, and she was saying that was like also kind of in tribute to what her story was trying to get across, how important Drag Race, the show, truly is to her.
But Ru said, well, that's sweet, but I'm not buying it. And you need to stop doing just wearing actual either the dress or reproductions of exact looks.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do that, it needs to have like 100,000 rhinestones on it.
Yeah.
And it needs to still like show us something fresh and new and things.
I wanted to ask because you watched the season that dress was the episode that dress is from. How did Candy Muse do with that dress? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, she was in the bottom, and they were like, "Girl, what is this dress?" She wasn't even wearing it as an ugly dress. Like she was literally wearing it like this is like
this is cute.
This is like I'm modeling this.
Okay, see, that should have been another clue. Is like literally, why would you pick a dress that puts somebody in the bottom, and then do it exactly the same?
I mean, the humor definitely could have been there, but I think like when she was modeling it, she should have like even played it up and like kind of given you like a Candy Muse impression. She should have just
that
done
would have been
something. Funny. Yeah, like once again, it was like she's doing the thing, but nothing of how she's delivering it or wearing it is like dragging it up enough.
I agree.
So it just, all the challenges that Lana and Sam had in the main challenge, they had on the runway. And that ultimately put both of them in the bottom. Yeah. So that writing that had been on the wall all episode, it's finally now playing out.
Yep. As I said, I just needed Sam being in the bottom to make sense because I knew how good Sam was.
Yeah. We needed to see the dominoes fall to like make it make sense.
And because because I'm a stickler for them sticking to the category, I like that Sam is in the bottom because she didn't do the category. Because it was beautiful. It was a beautiful dress. It just was gross to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bottom two now, surprisingly, Sam Star and Alana Jure.
We kind of knew that was coming.
We knew it was coming. They end up lip syncing to a song by Dua Lipa, and I don't know if I had ever heard of the song before or not.
It's called Illusion.
Yeah, maybe it's new, maybe it's old. I had never heard it, but let's chalk it up to us being alive for Great Depression. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I like Dua Lipa, but do I know a lot of their stuff? No.
Yeah. And it did give them the opportunity to, like, hopefully really, like, sing for their supper and show out. And
I felt like Sam Star was giving it the whole time. She is such a good lip syncer, and she will make sure that you see that she's got every word right.
Yeah.
I felt like Lana started giving it towards the end, but it was already, like, Sam had already been giving it the whole time was the problem for me.
Yeah. When I first started watching it, I thought, okay, maybe Lana is going to, threaten Sam a little bit. But ultimately, I mean, when it came down to the performance and then, of course, track record, it just was not going to make sense, obviously, to send Sam home.
No, not at all. That would have been crazy. I do like, I liked that they had their little moment. They death dropped at the same time.
Yes, that was sickening.
I like that they both took off their dresses and it wasn't awkward like last week with the cutting or anything like that.
I know.
And eventually Lana was really trying to save herself, but she just didn't until about halfway through the song. So I was like, you're not going to. I'm sorry, girl.
Yeah. Anytime that Lana was like, well, I'm going to take off my dress, and she did have a reveal, Sam was like right there with her, like, well, I'm going to take off my dress too. My dress comes off
just
too.
Tit for tat of all of it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. It was a really cool lip sync.
It was a really entertaining lip sync. It really
was. Yeah. It was. Yeah. And I hope that Sam can cut loose. I'm kind of curious now to see how she's going to do next week. Next week is the family makeover, and that can really shake the girls. You know, there are certain family dynamics that come out.
It could always,
and girls that can get in their head, and it really depends, like, what these family relationships are and who's showing up for them. So it can get a little emotional in this week's.
It's also always, especially because we're top 5 now.
Yeah, it'll be top 5, yeah.
And so top 5, that feels like the right time to do this because this cannot not add a new layer to all the girls.
Right.
Like, we're going to look, no matter what, we're going to learn something about somebody, probably something about everybody.
Right.
It's, and I definitely think going into the top 5, and now is the time to really, really, if we need to learn anything else or get to know them in a way that we don't already, now is the time.
Yeah, now is the time to do it. Yeah. And this is also, too, where the girls, like, doing makeup abilities really comes into play, styling abilities really comes into play, because not only is there family dynamics, but typically the prompt is family resemblance. So you need to make your family member look like a part of your drag family. And so if the girls are struggling with makeup or styling or anything like that, I mean, that in itself could potentially bite them. Yeah. So, like, I'm going to do a favor for you. I'm going to call out Suzie this time. So, like, Suzie, she, in my mind, could potentially struggle up in this coming week, because sometimes the makeup and the styling and the clothes are hard, difficult. Hard to look at. As
I already feel like a little bit of a liar sitting here to begin with because I can't do drag myself. And I also know that doing it on yourself and then doing it on somebody else is also
very different.
Very different thing.
Extremely different. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
I put a lot of people in drag.
So as you know, as much of a hard time as I'll give anybody, it's still completely with the knowledge that what they're doing is pretty amazing overall.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we're sitting here and, like, really breaking this down and talking about it and kind of giving that running commentary moment. But absolutely, the people that have gotten selected to be on Drag Race are they're absolutely there because they deserve it, and they're extremely talented at what they do.
Of course.
100%. But it'll be fun next week. And the competition now is really heating up because Lana was, kind of giving you consistent bottom. She's gone now.
Yeah.
So any sort of, like, cushion for, like, bottom and who you kind of expect. No, I mean, this sounds horrible, but it's true. Like, Lydia and Lana were kind of the last two girls where you kind of expected them to be near the bottom each week. Yeah. Now that they're gone, it's like just the heavy hitters left.
Yes. So it's gonna start getting real.
These eliminations coming up are gonna hurt y'all because, like, I really like everybody so much that's left. I think they're all so talented.
And also, do we know yet if it's going to be a Final 4 or Final 3?
We don't know yet. Yeah. But there are still, I think, several episodes left. Yeah. So we'll just have to see. Yeah. We'll have to see.
5 queens.
Ooh. All right, Jordan. We've reached the end of the episode, but we can't leave without doing a few things.
Okay.
We need to say who our sip and our spit were of the week. So I think I went first last week. Do you know who your sip is of the week?
My sip this week was Lexi. I just adore her. I loved seeing her not let her inner saboteur take over and seeing just how well that worked out. And so my sip of this week is Lexi. What about you? Who was your sip this week?
My sip of the week is, and I think you chose Lexi as your sip last week. My sip of the week is who I chose last week. It's Onya again. Onya is that girl, and now she's gotten her 4th win. Because, they got a double win. I don't think we mentioned that. We're just skipping all around. But
it was mentioned there's a 4-win curse I was hearing.
Ooh, a 4-win curse. Yeah, so I hope y'all, curses can be broken. We saw Philippines, Drag Race Philippines Season 3 break the Season 3 curse. I hope that Onya can now break the 4-win curse, which is if you have 4 wins, you, like, don't win the season.
Oh.
But I'm confident if anybody can do it, it is Onya. So Onya is my sip all day long.
Cool.
Who was your spit?
My spit, I did not understand her Christmas look, so it's going to be Miss Toot again. It's going to be Suzie Toot. Our rivalry continues.
The rivalry
The one side, she has no idea who I am, so the one-sided rivalry.
I live for it at this point.
What about you?
My spit of the week is... So I was really divided between Lana and Sam. You know, I have to, though, ultimately, I think I'm going to go with Sam.
Okay.
Sam kind of fell the farthest this week. She really missed the category and kind of reverted back into her, I'm not going to have fun, I'm just going to be too serious mode.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Miss Sam.
And I really think it was just that cut to joke. Because
my God,
that set her off. She was having fun
Yeah.
until the moment they said that.
Yes. Let's give these folks our final thoughts about the episode. What is your at the end of the day?
At the end of the day, you got to pay attention to the category, whether it's for Lexi, like literally not even getting the words right of your category, or Sam just knowing that she knows that she was straight up not doing a worse dress, and that was not going to do that. If you're making something beautiful, even if it's not something beautiful you'd wear, you're not doing worse dress.
Right.
Do the categories, girls, please.
Yeah, and my at the end of the day is along that lines, but I think it's like the number one rule of Drag Race that people forget. At the end of the day, you need to make Ru laugh.
Yes, that's the whole game.
Make Ru laugh. There's never not going to be a situation where Ru doesn't want you to inject humor into whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Make it camp, make it drag. So make Ru laugh, gals.
Yes. I would agree with that as an end of the day.
Jordan, this was so much fun. This episode was so much fun. And I had a great time with you here today at Sit and Sip.
I had a great time being here, as always.
Yes. And we will be back once again next Monday with another Sit and Sip. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Everybody take care, and we will see you next time, divas. Bye.